Financial freedom might seem like an impossible dream to you, but not if you invest. Investing is how you can turn a little money into a lot. Just like how a seed from this tiny pine cone turns into this giant sequoia tree. All it needed was some sunshine, water, and good soil to grow. And that's exactly how investing in index funds works. You don't have to do much, but you do have to get a few ingredients right. And at the end, I'll actually invest $1,000 of my own money so that you can follow along and start planting your seed today.
All right, so let's dive right in. I don't want to assume anything, so let's first get on the same page about what is an index fund. An index fund is a pooled investment vehicle that gives you an instant slice of ownership in hundreds or even thousands of different companies. And the reason why it's called an index fund is because the stocks and companies that go into this fund are determined by an index. Some indexes you might have heard of are the S&P 500, the Dow Jones, the NASDAQ. If you're in Japan, the Nikkei. So there's a lot of different indexes representing different segments of stock markets all around the world, as well as different industries and sectors. It's the same for bond indexes as well. But basically, whenever you're choosing an index fund, you first want to know what index is it tracking. An S&P 500 index fund will track the S&P 500. A Dow Jones index fund will track the Dow Jones. Sometimes it's not that straightforward which index an index fund is tracking. I'll show you in a minute how to find that out. And I'll also even recommend a couple of good index funds to look into to jumpstart your research. But essentially, the beauty of index funds is that because the selection of stocks in that fund is not determined by an overpaid, super smart money manager, instead of your investment performance being based on hopefully the good performance of somebody who will hopefully pick the right stocks, you're basically just investing in a slice of the entire economy. And over the long run, the economy always grows. The economy always goes up. If you look at every stock market index, over time, it has always gone up. Versus, imagine you invested your money in a fund that wasn't an index fund where I don't know, Mr. Bob is in charge of picking the stocks. What if he's not that good at his job? Or what if he actually just gets lucky for a few years and then gets unlucky for another number of years? Because honestly, beating the market is really hard to do. Picking the right stocks is really hard to do. There's a ton of research that shows that if you just invest in the entire stock market versus trying to cherry pick stocks, you're going to perform a lot better. In fact, here's a quote that I love from Jack Bogle, who is the founder of Vanguard and also the grandfather and OG of index fund investing. Don't look for the needle in the haystack, just buy the entire haystack. I love that, and this is why I'm such a huge fan of index fund investing, because it means the everyday person, anyone who has zero financial knowledge, can grow their money and build their wealth reliably over the long run just by buying an index fund and holding it for the long term. Now, a couple of details about index funds that I want to cover. One is that not all index funds are created equal. The first criteria to consider is something called the expense ratio. Now, every index fund or non-index fund, every fund charges what's called an expense ratio, which is a tiny percentage they take off the top of your investment every single year. Expense ratios can range from 0.02% all the way up to 2 or even 3%. Now, a couple of percent might not sound like much, but a tiny difference in fees over 10, 20, 30 years actually adds up to hundreds of thousands of dollars. And unlike the fund's performance and the returns that you get, which are very volatile, the fees are consistent no matter what, whether the fund lost money or made you money, but you'll always be paying the fees. So as an example, let's check out a few index funds and compare their expense ratios. So one of them is the Vanguard 500 Index Fund, which is an index fund that tracks the S&P 500. And the way that you can see that is often just by going down to the product summary or somewhere where there's a description. This index fund gets exposure to 500 of the largest US companies. And that is the S&P 500. The S&P 500 is a market index of the 500 largest US companies. So sometimes an index fund won't name the index directly because they have to pay royalties probably to the S&P 500, but you kind of get the picture. Now, the expense ratio, which is always shown at the top here, is 0.04%. And relatively speaking, that's a really, really low expense ratio. That might as well be zero. Now let's compare that to another index fund, Fidelity 500 Index Fund. And they also track the S&P 500, the 500 largest US companies. And the expense ratio is 0.015%. So that's even lower than Vanguard. So this is what you're looking for. You want an expense ratio that's essentially as low as possible. So if we look here on this chart, hypothetical growth of $10,000, as you can see, the index fund and the S&P 500 index basically had the same performance. 33,850, 33,882. Let's actually look at the different view that's a little more detailed. So if you had invested in this Fidelity 500 index fund, over the lifetime of this fund, you would have made about 11%. If you had invested directly in the S&P 500 index, which by the way isn't possible, an index is just a calculation. It's not a fund that you can invest in. But the S&P 500 as a calculation returned 11.13%. So that's very close to 11%. So that's what I mean when I say that an index fund should track a particular index. When it's correctly tracking an index, the performance is 1-for-1 with very little tracking error. Any sort of minor difference is basically because of fees. So as you can see, this purple bar is the fund, and then the blue bar is the index, and they're basically neck for neck. The 1-year return is 27.12% compared to 27.14%. and so on and so forth. That's a little look behind the hood of an index fund and why they're called index funds. If you want to learn more about stock market indexes, what they are, then check out this video here where you can nerd out a lot more about that. But rather than getting really into the weeds about all the different indexes out there that you can invest in, I want to introduce a very important concept called asset allocation. So asset allocation is the particular mix of investments that you want in your portfolio. For example, if you have $10,000 to invest, are you going to put 5,000 of that into stock market index funds and 5,000 of that into bond market index funds so that you have a 50-50 stock bond asset allocation? Or are you going to do 80% in stocks and 20% in bonds? All of that will depend on how risk averse or how aggressive you want to be. The younger you are, generally, the more you want in stocks. If you want to use a really easy rule of thumb, then take your age and own that percentage in bonds and then invest the rest in stocks. So for example, if you're 30 years old, you would put 30% in bonds and 70% in stocks. You could also just go super aggressive and put everything in stocks and nothing in bonds. Just follow the general rule of thumb. The younger you are, the more you want in stocks. And no matter what, you want to have at least 50% of your portfolio in stocks. You can get as fancy as you want with this, or you can just go with Warren Buffett's asset allocation, which is 90% in stocks, 10% in bonds, no matter how old you are. That's the asset allocation that he is using for his estate when he passes it on to his wife. So if this asset allocation is good enough for Warren Buffett, I'm sure it's good for you. This is actually the asset allocation that I use for my investing. 90% in stocks, 10% in bonds. Now, once you decide your overall stock and bond asset allocation, you want to get a little more granular because in that stock allocation, you then have to answer the question of how much of that is going to be in international stocks versus US stocks versus emerging market stocks. Because there are different segments of the world stock market. We live in a very globalized world. So if you only invest in US stock market index funds, you're actually leaving out at least half of the investable universe. So what I like to do is I'll first figure out what is my stock versus bond split. And then once I figure out what percentage is in stocks, I'll divide that between international and US. So if I have 90% in stocks, of that 90%, half of that is in the US stock market and the other half of that is in international stocks. That way, I'm investing in everything that is available to me as a global investor. So we talked about the criteria to look for. You want low expense ratios. You also want index funds that fit the asset allocation that you're trying to build. There's one more criteria, which is whether that index fund is a mutual fund or an ETF. So let me explain. There are actually two types of index funds. There's mutual funds and there's something called exchange traded funds, ETFs. So an index fund that's structured as a mutual fund will only trade once a day, whereas an index fund that is structured as an ETF trades whenever the stock market is open, it trades and looks like a stock. Honestly, it doesn't really matter which one you go for. In the past, mutual funds allowed automatic recurring monthly investments, which I really liked. But nowadays, brokerages are actually offering that feature for ETFs as well. So Fidelity, for example, recently started offering the option to automatically invest a fixed amount in ETFs as well as in mutual funds. Not all brokerages offer this option. Most brokerages only allow you to set up automated recurring purchases if it's a mutual fund, which is why if you're not with Fidelity, I recommend investing in index funds that are structured specifically as mutual funds. But if you're with Fidelity, it doesn't matter. I know this is kind of complicated, so I've actually summarized all of this for you in an index fund cheat sheet. I also give you a very comprehensive list of the best index funds to invest in, whether you're with Fidelity or Vanguard, whether you want ETFs or mutual funds, and I give you some asset allocation ideas. It's a really good cheat sheet, so definitely grab that below. The link is in the description. It's completely free. But really quick, here are some good index funds to jumpstart your research. VOO, which is an ETF that tracks the S&P 500, and the mutual fund equivalent of that would be VFIAX. And if you wanted to go with Fidelity, it would be FXAIX. As you can see, the expense ratios for all three of these are super, super low. They all track the S&P 500. So at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter which one you go for. Again, the only feature that I would be careful about is whether the platform allows you to make monthly recurring purchases. So these are S&P 500 index funds. But something I really wanted to point out is the S&P 500 is not the entire US stock market. There are actually thousands of companies in the US that you can invest in. So instead of the S&P 500 index, I actually like to invest in what's called a total market index fund. So rather than investing in just the 500 largest US companies, a total market index fund invests in all of the companies in the US, not just the 500 largest. And I like that better because there are a lot of smaller companies that are worth investing in. For example, if we look at the number of holdings in VT Sachs, which is a total stock market index fund, we would scroll down to portfolio composition. Number of stocks is 3,673. Compare that to the number of stocks in the 500 index fund. I'm guessing it would be 500. Number of stocks is 504. So obviously this fund is a lot more diversified, and I like that. Overall, the more diversified your investment is, the less risk you're taking. So if given the choice, I like going more for the total stock market index funds. Now, if you wanted to include some bonds in your asset allocation, which is always a good idea, you could check out BND, which is an ETF that gives you exposure to basically all the bonds that you can buy in the US, whether it's US treasuries or in government bonds or corporate bonds. So it's kind of like a bond multivitamin, a nice selection of all types of bonds that you can invest in. And if you wanted the mutual fund version of this, FXNAX or VBTLX will do the trick. Again, download my index fund cheat sheet. It goes into super detail. I link directly to all of these fund summary pages, so you can just click and then buy. So check out the cheat sheet. Now, that being said, let's actually do a test run and see what it's like to buy an index fund. Okay, so here we are in Fidelity. That's where I hold some of my accounts. And the first thing actually before you can buy any index funds is the first thing you need to do is open an account. So think of accounts as like the shopping cart, and the index funds are all the things that you put in that shopping cart. And the best account to start with for most of you is going to be a Roth IRA. It has special tax advantages. So let's say you opened a Roth IRA at Fidelity. It's either Fidelity or Vanguard. I definitely prefer Fidelity for various reasons, but the first step is to open your Roth IRA and then to transfer money into it. Once you've transferred money into it, you have not invested yet. You just have money in a Roth IRA. And so that's what I want to walk you through, is how to buy your first few index funds in your account. So let's say you go to your Roth IRA and you'll see in your positions tab, the cash that you transferred in there. I have some random money sitting in there right now. So when you transfer cash into your accounts, you're going to see it sitting here, and it says it's something like held in money market. That means it's earning a little bit of interest, but it is not invested in index funds. It's not going to grow. So we need to take the next step, which is to make our first trade. So to do that, you go over here to the little trade button, and that's going to open a pop-up window. Now, before you can actually make a trade, you need to know what funds you want to buy. And specifically, you need to know the ticker symbol, which is usually like a 3 or 4 letter symbol that stands for that fund. And again, you can get that in my index fund cheat sheet. So again, link is below in the description. Make sure you grab that so you know what funds you're buying. But let's say you are going with the Fidelity Total Market Index Fund. That's a really popular one. Well, that's a mutual fund index fund, and the code is FXKAX, or rather the ticker symbol. You type that in, action, buy. You should know what dollar amount you want to buy, and that really depends on the asset allocation you're going for. So let's say I'm following Warren Buffett's recommended asset allocation of buying 90% stocks, 10% in bonds, and I'm investing $1,000. Then I'll want to invest $900 into this stock fund. So dollar amount is 900, preview order, and place order. Now, depending on what time you're placing the trade, it's going to execute at the next kind of market day. So it says trade executes after next market close. So right now it's Thursday at night. So this will execute Friday after market close. So around 4 or 5 p.m., you're going to see the fund sitting in your account. And if you want to look at the orders, you can go to manage orders. You can go over to where it says orders, and you will see the order sitting there, buy 900 of FSKAX. And once the order executes, the status will say executed, filled, and then you can go back to your account and you'll see that it's been filled. Now, just to complete the investing, let's say you wanted to also buy a bond fund as well. Well, I happen to know that a good ticker symbol for a bond index fund is FUAMX. Again, that's in my index fund cheat sheet, so make sure to grab that. And since I'm investing $1,000 and allocating 10% of that to bonds, I'm going to buy $100. So that's the dollar amount that I'll put, preview order, place order, and that's it. So as you can see, it's super easy to get started investing. If you're not excited about investing yet, let me show you this. Investing, again, is how you turn a little bit of money, like that little seed, into a very large amount of money, into this giant sequoia tree. And it's really hard for us to wrap our heads around how much investing can compound your money. So let me show you an example with real numbers. So today, if you're starting with zero, but you started investing just $500 a month into an S&P 500 index fund, just one simple S&P 500 index fund, such as FXAIX, then after 30 years, your total contributions would have added up to $180,000 of your own money. But your investment portfolio would be worth over $1 million. That's what index fund investing can do for you. That's what stock market growth can do. It's the definition of working smarter, not harder. I fully believe that no matter who you are, everyone should be putting at least $500 into a stock market index fund and just calling it a day. And the best thing to do is to automate all of it so it just happens in the background of your life, rain or shine, whether you remember or not. This is how anyone, just everyday people like us, can build wealth without actually doing that much. It's just having a little bit of financial literacy and also having the courage to pull the trigger on investing. So there you have it. If you're sitting on some cash and you want to put it to work, you want to start working smarter, not harder, then definitely choose one of these asset allocations, pick some index funds using my index fund cheat sheet, and start putting your money to work. The key here is to start now, get out of analysis paralysis, and then just perfect later. Because every day you wait is another day that your money isn't working hard for you.
So that's it for this video. I really hope it demystified index fund investing. And don't forget, plant that seed today and you will be amazed at how much your money grows. Once again, don't forget to download my index fund investing cheat sheet, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.